Hello guys, Robert1 here along with Charmander in the background as always, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we're going to be talking about something very important in today's video, and that is my ban list predictions for the January ban list. Because obviously, we're in the new year now, it's time to start talking about ban list season because we've literally just entered it, guys. We're in the new year, it's time to start talking ban list, and me and Charmander definitely have had a good discussion about what deserves to be hit, what deserves to be changed on the ban list, and really how the new ban list should go. So guys, hopefully Konami will make these changes, hopefully we'll see a lot of these things happen, and some of them I don't want to happen, but will most likely happen because of a few things that have happened in the past few weeks. So guys, let's go ahead and get into the video, and let's go to the ban section of the video. So for cards that deserve to be smacked by that ban hammer. So the first one that I believe deserves to be banned is obviously Artifact Scythe. This card is absolutely insane, seeing play in a variety of different combo decks, and is just a card that definitely deserves to be kicked out of the format for a multitude of reasons. First being its actual effect that says, oh, you can't special summon from the extra deck if I'm summoned during your turn. If anyone thinks that this is fair, you are wrong, because locking someone out of the extra deck and locking them out of being able to play the game is never fair, and definitely is a reason why a card like this should be kicked out of the format. Second is that the card is very easy to get to thanks to cards like Artifact Dagda, a link monster that literally just says whenever you activate a face-up effect, you just go ahead and set any artifact from your deck. So you use that card, you go ahead and set Scythe, and then you have it to pop on your opponent's turn. So very easy to get to. And third, you literally just need any way to pop it, one of the main ways being destroy Phoenix Enforcer, and then you can go ahead and use Artifact Scythe to go ahead and just kill your opponent, stop them from being able to play the game, and lock them out of their extra deck, which I think is just not fair. Definitely a card that deserves to just get hit by the ban hammer and just deserves to be kicked out because the card is absolutely insane. So yeah, first card, Artifact Scythe, definitely a card that deserves the ban hammer, and definitely a card we should probably see banned on this Forbidden and Limited list. Next though is Arch Nemesis Protos, and this card deserves to be banned for quite a few reasons. First being, it's essentially Shockmaster of the modern era, because what this card essentially does is you can declare one monster attribute that is on the field, destroy all monsters of that attribute, and then neither player can special summon monsters of that attribute until the end of the next turn. So what does this do? It essentially locks your opponent out of their deck, because the decks that you're going to be using this, i.e. Sword Soul, play almost every attribute in the game, which honestly is really insane, because if you make Protos and declare, I don't know, a light monster, then your Drytron deck can't play the game. If you call Dark, which Protos actually is, then your opponent playing PK or any Dark deck in the game cannot play the game, which I think is personally really insane. And what puts the icing on the top of this card is that it can't be destroyed by card effects. So if you declare this card's effect, you destroy all dark monsters, this card won't be destroyed because, well, it's a dark monster, but it can't be destroyed by card effects. So essentially it's an every turn Shockmaster without materials to detach, which I think is absolutely insane, and being searchable in the actual deck that would play it, which is Sword Soul, because literally all you need to do to summon this card is make it Chi Zhao and then just search any worm in your deck, which this is a worm, is really insane, because it's searchable, it's very easy to summon, because all you need to do is banish 3 monsters with different attributes. With Sword Soul, it's very easy because you play tons of different attributes. You play the 10 Years, which are all different attributes. You've got Light and Earth with the 2 normal ones that you'd play. You've got Mo Yi, which is a water. You've got the Burn one, which is a fire monster. You've got a lot of monsters that you can actually banish to go ahead and summon the Protos. So it's just like, this card is insane. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to protect because it's own effect, and locking out your opponent's cards is never fun. So definitely another card that does deserve to be banned. But now, the next card that actually does deserve to be banned is Recital Starling. And honestly guys, this card does deserve the ban hammer for a few reasons, and I'm going to explain them to you. The first being that Lyrilosk Tri-Brigade is an absolutely insane deck. Being a deck that can set up a ton of disruptions with a wind barrier statue and say your opponent can't play the game isn't fair, and I feel like you need a way to hit that consistency in that type of deck. So how do you do that? You hit the consistency and also a way to make a negate. Now, what am I saying here? Well, Recital Starling, for first of all, needs 2 level 1 monsters to actually make it, and when it's summoned, you can go ahead and detach 1 Exceed material from this card to search any winged beast from your deck to your hand. So what does this do? It stops you from searching more Lyrilosks to go into further combos, to special summon Lyrilosks from your hand, your graveyard, anywhere. This card gone, then you can't do that, which I think is really, really good. And another thing you do is actually prevent the consistency into going into one of their negates, which is Utopic Future Draco. Banning this card stops consistency, stops the Utopic Future Draco, which is one of the main negates, and seeing as the Lyrillust tri-brigade deck normally makes upwards of 2 of these in one turn, giving them 2 searches and 1 negate out of it, personally, I feel like it's not a bad hit and definitely will hit the consistency and the negates that this deck makes. So if you ban Recital Starling, then you get rid of one of the biggest problems in the Lyrillust deck, which is consistency, being able to search all of your little Lyrillust monsters that allow you to special summon them, and then just go ahead and special summon more monsters or add more cards, which is really, really good, and also just deals with that big negate in Utopic Future Draco that says, oh yeah, I can't be destroyed by anything, and I'm just going to go ahead and steal your stuff. So I personally think banning this card is a great way to actually hit the tri-brigade Lyrillust deck, and is probably one of the best ways to make the deck a bit more fairer, especially seeing as being able to set up upwards of like 5 disruptions with a wind barrier statue. It's not very fair when you think about it, is it? So yeah, Lyrillust Recital Starling is definitely a card that I think deserves to be banned, and will probably be banned in this upcoming list, in my opinion. But the final card that I actually think is going to be banned on this Forbidden and Limited list is Verte Anaconda. Now, I don't think I have to explain too deeply why this card actually deserves to be banned. Like, honestly, this card is absolutely insane, being able to just give you access into Dragoons or destroy Phoenix Enforcer with just 2 monsters, and I personally think that is justification enough to actually ban this card. We're seeing these cards get played in a lot more decks, and I feel like banning Verte now is just the correct choice. Like, we're seeing a lot more abuse, we're seeing a lot more play, and I think it's time that Konami just says, yep, it's time to ban Verte. People are already playing Free Fusion Destiny, people are already playing the Red Eyes Fusion, and with the amount of targets and pieces that are actually coming out to make this card more insane, I personally feel like this is actually just getting more and more dumb the longer we have it. So Verte Anaconda is a card that I definitely feel like deserves to be banned. It's literally a card that says now I can get a pop every turn, draw 2 cards, and a free special summon, and I personally feel like because of that, the card deserves to be banned. But yeah, that's all I have for the ban section of this video. Let's go ahead and move on to the limited section now to see what cards I think should be limited. First one I think that's going to be limited is actually Magical Meltdown. Let's be honest, guys, you've been normal summoning Alistair for 5 years, I've been normal summoning him for 2 years, and it's time for this engine to get hit. Like, honestly, Alistair on its own is absolutely insane, but hitting the consistency of Invoked needs to happen now more than ever. The deck is reaching a point where you can literally just make really insane boards by normal summoning Alistair, and then just activating cards like Fusion Destiny, Nadir's Servant, and all of these other spell cards to go absolutely insane, and you need to actually hit this consistency, because the amount of combo potential in Invoked, the point where this deck has actually reached, is reaching an all-time high and reaching a ceiling that just really needs to be knocked down a peg, because literally being able to make a board of Winder, Mechabar, and Destroy Phoenix Enforcer now is absolutely insane, and it needs to be hit down a peg. So hitting Meltdown to 1 will solve this problem to a degree. It will hit the consistency, it will stop you from being able to get Alistair as easy, and I personally feel like Konami need to start hitting these decks, because the more engines that come out for Invoked, the more engines that this deck can abuse, the more powerful Invoked are actually going to get, especially seeing as with the recent addition of DPE into the deck is just reaching new all-times high of power. So personally, Magical Meltdown to 1 should definitely happen. Hopefully Konami will realize Alistair for 5 years is not okay, and they will limit this card into the ground, and probably maybe even ban it at some point, because you really do need to start hitting Invoked for it to actually be less consistent. Otherwise, it's just going to keep being as powerful as it is, and it will just incorporate more new engines into the deck. So Magical Meltdown to 1 is definitely something that I could see on the upcoming Forbidden and Limited list, and the only other card that I think is going to be limited, coming from banned to limited, is Thunder Dragon Colossus. Now, normally I wouldn't have had this on the video, but the reason why it's actually come into the video is because I saw a leak showing that it's been reprinted in Grand Creators. Now, this is coming from a source that actually has had a lot of damaged cards recently that have been coming from the Speed Duel box set, Grand Creators, and all of this, and from the looks of it, Thunder Dragon Colossus has been reprinted in Grand Creators, and if this is a fact, then Thunder Dragon Colossus will come back to 1, because Konami are like that. If they're going to reprint a card for a specific deck, for a specific archetype, they will normally bring back this one card if they're reprinting it. So personally, if it's true, if the leak leak is true, then this card will definitely come back to 1. If not, it will stay banned like it should. But if Konami are actually reprinting it in Grand Creators as that leak showed, then I definitely think it will come back to 1 because of that. They're not going to reprint something and just leave it banned, especially seeing as it's a card that's a fan favorite to a degree, because a lot of people do love Thunder Dragons. But guys, that's all I have for limiteds. Now let's go on to semi-limiteds. Cards that I think are going to be semi-limited. Now, I only actually have one card that I think is going to be semi-limited in the upcoming format, and that is Salamangreat Circle. And the reason I think this is actually going to be semi-limited is because, just like Pendulum, this deck is kind of dead. Like, honestly, Salamangreat are doing nothing. They would do nothing if they came back into the current format, because the decks in the current format are just absolutely insane. Like, having decks like Drytron out there, Tri-Brigade Lyralast, Invoked DPE, like all these different decks, Sword Soul even, I honestly don't think bringing Salamangreat back into the fray would actually break the game, and I think to test that a bit, Konami might actually put Circle to 2. Now, honestly, I could also see Gazelle potentially coming to 2 as well, but I think they wouldn't do that just because they don't really want to make something overpowered out of nowhere for no reason. And honestly, even if it did come back, I don't think it would be overpowered, but Salamangreat was definitely one of those decks back in the day that did a lot with just 1 or 2 cards, and I feel like bringing Circle back though would just make it a bit more playable, and seeing as the deck wouldn't really make a huge explosion if it did come back to 2, I don't think it's a bad idea to bring this back to 2. You know, just like how they did with Joker and Iris, put it to 2, test it, and then maybe put it back to 3. I honestly could see this happening because they've done it in the past, and Salamangreat won't be broken with 2 Circle anyway. Like, for this deck to actually be fully insane, you would probably need everything to be nerfed in the format for it to be absolutely great again, and personally, I think Circle to 2 would be fine. So yeah, Salamangreat Circle to 2 is the only card that I can actually see being semi-limited, but let's go ahead onto cards that I think are going to be unlimited on the upcoming ban list. Now, obviously, I think it's kind of easy to tell what cards are going to be unlimited on the upcoming ban list, because Konami have already kind of shown us their strategy for unlimiting cards, but we're going to be talking about them anyway because I want to, and we need to talk about them for the predictions. So let's go. So for the first card that I think is actually going to be unlimited is Skull Crobat Joker. It was put on the semi-limited section, has done nothing on the semi-limited section, so can easily go to 3 like they did Double Iris Magician. And in all honesty, guys, putting Skull Crobat Joker to 3 wouldn't make Pendulums any better. The deck isn't any good right now because the master rules and the mechanics just don't interact with Pendulum very well, so Pendulum isn't a great deck, and seeing as you need to be able to play hand traps in any given format right now, which Pendulum can't, the deck just won't function very well, and it's a deck that I personally feel isn't that great. So putting Skull Crobat Joker to 3 would change nothing. Just let me search my Odd Eyes monsters or my Perform Power monsters or my Magician monsters, please, because this card of 3 would do nothing, and I just want to do it for fun. Next is Danger Nessie. Let's be honest, guys, the good dangers are Tsuchinoko and Jackalope, and Nessie being at 2 has done nothing, so why would be putting it to 3 do anything, really? Like, let's be honest. Like, Danger Nessie up 3 would do nothing, and as long as Jackalope and Tsuchinoko stay at 1, I don't think putting it to 3 is a bad thing. So Nessie to 3, it's very easy to see coming, and I don't really think it's a problem up 3 anyway. So yeah, let's be honest, Tsuchinoko and Jackalope to 3 would be bad, but Nessie to 3 is fine. It's fine. Konami can do it easily. And then the last card that I think will go to 3 is actually Emergency Teleport to support the upcoming Psychic support coming out, such as like the Geek Boy card and also the Punk archetype coming out in Grand Creators. Like, honestly, Konami brought it from 1 to 2, and now they're going to bring it from 2 to 3 because they want to be able to support all these Psychic decks. It's kind of obvious to see that they want to support these Psychic archetypes too, especially seeing as they're giving a lot more Psychic support coming out, and honestly, Emergency Teleport to 3 wouldn't surprise me anyway as well. But guys, that is all I actually have for this video though. Like, I've talked about all the cards that I think are going to be banned, semi-limited, limited, and unlimited, and I want to hear your thoughts as well in the comment section below, so please tell me that in the comment section below, guys. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Do you think that Colossus is going to come back to 1? Do you think Magical Meltdown is going to go to 1? Do you think they'll ban Reciting Starling, or ban Magical Meltdown, or maybe ban Verti Anaconda, or just do any of these things on the ban list? I would love to hear your personal thoughts and opinions, so please tell me them, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Robot1 signing out. Later all.